This is Hanno van Raalte. I'm product manager for Moldflow. Thank you for joining us at a webinar to talk about Rescale and the partnership we've developed with between Rescale and Moldflow. So just as an introduction real quick, so Moldflow was actually one of the had a pioneering role in terms of the use of cloud computing for simulation. We've had a technology preview called, for some of you might have heard over the years, that we've had available for a little while. It was called Cumulus. It had been around for 2 years before we commercialized it in 2013, which we had our first cloud offering in terms of Moldflow. But we've also heard like some companies already saying like, yeah, so that's all great, but we're looking for some other ways to use cloud computing to run either massive number of analyses or very big jobs. So in order to actually solve sort of and provide another way for customers to actually run cloud computing for analysis on the cloud, we actually partnered up with Rescale. Rescale is a provider of compute infrastructure that we're now partnering up with. So they will talk a little bit more about like their products, their company, and as well as the workflow and how they can actually you can actually use Moldflow here. But that's where we are today. So one thing I was going to mention is that if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat window. We will be able to answer the questions after the ending of the presentation and the demo. So now I'm handing over to Mika and Mulyanto for the presentation.
Thank you, Hanno. Okay, as Hanno mentioned, I'm going to be giving you an introduction to Rescale. So Rescale provides a comprehensive cloud HPC platform for running simulations. There are several key elements to the Rescale platform. The first is the software. We support over 180 different software packages that are pre-installed and tested so that our users have one unified platform to execute all of their simulation work. The next feature of the Rescale platform is our range of hardware. Rescale is a multi-cloud solution, meaning we partner with several infrastructure providers globally, accessing over 36 data centers and allowing our users to leverage a wide range of different types of hardware, including InfiniBand and GPUs. Next, we have an intuitive interface that enables engineers and scientists to set up and execute different types of simulations with an easy-to-use workflow, which Mulyanto will soon demonstrate. Users can monitor their simulations and results in real time and can do pre- and post-processing directly on the platform with our desktop feature. With our enterprise solution, we also have an administrative portal which allows IT and management to manage and monitor usage and to set additional budgets, permissions, and controls for users within their company. We can also integrate the platform with existing on-premise hardware so IT and management can have transparency and control over all resources being used across their company. In terms of security, it's one of our top priorities at Rescale, and we have many security features built into the platform. I'll come back to that shortly in a couple of slides. As I mentioned, Rescale is a multi-cloud environment, and this spans span of infrastructure partners allows us to offer a wide selection of different hardware configurations to our users. In addition to our 36 global data centers, we also have 5 distinct platforms. 2 platforms are in the US. One of these is for ITAR-controlled work only, and we also have dedicated platforms in Europe, Japan, and South Korea. And these dedicated platforms are for users requiring that their data stay within one geographic region. As I mentioned, security is paramount at Rescale. We go to great lengths and have many measures in place to ensure that the platform is secure and that our users' information is protected at every step. We go through several in-depth processes, including audits, to meet strict security compliance and regulation requirements. One of the key security features that we've built into the platform is encryption. Rescale users' data is encrypted both in transit and at rest. When simulations are running, they run on isolated encrypted clusters, And if you need a more detailed security review, contact us after the webinar, and we're happy to schedule a call with you. Now, the partnership between Rescale and Autodesk has enabled both existing and new Moldflow users to run their local licenses on Rescale, allowing them to instantly scale out their work. In addition to the straightforward workflow to execute simulations, which you can sort of see on the screen and Mulyanto will show soon, we also have our desktop feature available for pre- and post-processing that allows users to open up a remote desktop to visualize their results directly on the platform. We also have customized workflows available, including a design of experiments framework. Finally, should you run into any issues while working on the platform, we have a strong support team of cloud and CAE experts who are available to live chat and can help with any issues that users may run into. Now I will pass it over to Mulyanto, and he will demonstrate how to run Moldflow using the Rescale interface. Okay.
Thank you, Mika. Before I jump to the demo, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what you have to do before you start running a job, and then also a little bit about some of the hardware considerations when running Moldflow on Rescale. So before you can run a job on Rescale, you can sign up for a free account on Rescale. If you sign up, you get $10 credit when you sign up, so you can do some initial testing on Rescale to make sure that it is the solution, the right solution for your needs. To sign up, you just go to rescale.com and click the free trial button in the top right, and fill out a simple form on the registration page. The second thing that you'll need to do is set up a connection to your licenses. Moldflow is available with bring your own licenses. We can help you set up this connection to your internal license server, either through VPN, SSH tunneling, or port forwarding. Once you've got your local license server connected, it's as easy as entering your license location in your job setup to use these licenses. Well, next, talk a little bit about hardware considerations. So individual runs of Moldflow run up to a single node per run. Rescale has multiple hardware configurations with different numbers of cores per node. For Moldflow, we recommend to run up to 8 cores simultaneously. It is also important to make sure that you have enough memory. We recommend that you always choose a configuration with enough memory so you do not scratch the disk. An illustration of this is in the graph here below. On the bottom right, you can see 5 different runs of the same model on different hardware configurations. And the bottom one is a configuration with only 30 gigabytes of memory. And you can see that it runs almost 10 times as slow as ones that have 60 gigabytes or more of memory. On the left, we zoom up on the 4 fast results of the benchmark, and you can see that adding more memory can still help even over 30 gigabytes, but there are other factors in play when you when you have enough memory. And with that, I will go over a quick demo of how to use Rescale with Moldflow. And like Mika mentioned, we have multiple platforms in different locations around the world. Right now, I'm on the login page for our global platform here in the US. It's at platform.rescale.com. For our login, we support single sign-on. So if you have single sign-on set up for your company, such as Azure Active Directory, we can integrate with that. We also support multi-factor authentication, which I have set up for my account here. So first thing I have to do is type in my multi-factor code. And then once I'm logged in, it will load our platform and it will bring me to my jobs list. And so this is the landing page when you log in. It's the jobs list, and it shows you all finished and currently running jobs. And you can see here that I've got 3 finished jobs and 1 job that's currently running. You can also organize the jobs here. So I can organize them in directories. So I can, for example, create a new folder called webinar jobs. And then I can go ahead and move jobs to that folder. And so now the job that I just moved is in this folder. I next want to talk a little bit about the options here at the top. So at the top you can either create a new job. You can go to the jobs organization page, which we are right now. You can go to our desktops feature, which is our remote visualization product, in which you can launch desktop applications and log in using a remote desktop. And then our files organization page here. And then on the top right, we have our transfer status window. We have our localization options. We support, aside from English, we support Japanese, Chinese, and Korean languages. And then account settings and information you can access here in the top right. So next I'm going to set up a Moldflow job. And to do that, I'm going to click New Job here at the top left. And this brings me to the job setup page. The first page I get to is the input file page. But before I upload any input files, I'm going to give my job a name. So I can reference it later on. And then next, I can associate files to this job. I can either upload these from my computer, or I can reference files that I've already uploaded before and which are now in cloud storage. For this job, I'm going to upload a file, and I'm going to upload the study file here, the vacuum molds study. And while it's uploading, the status window here shows up. But while it's uploading, we can continue setting up our job. So I'm going to copy the name of the file because I need to reference this later on when I specify the command to run the job. I will next select software here at the top to go to the software setup page. I will look for Moldflow in our library of software, by typing in Moldflow here at the top and select Moldflow as the software to use for this job. I can select different versions here at the top, and I'm just going to run version 2017, and then I need to specify the command that I want to use to run the job. So the command that you want to run is run study and then the name of the study file. It's very simple. And the next thing I want to do is set up my licensing. If you bring your own license, what you have to do is select provide existing license and type in the locations of your license here. For example, if my license were located at license.rescale.com, I would type in something like this. In our case, in my case, I'm going to just use a Rescale demo license and not use a license that I've hosted on our local network. The third thing I have to set up is the hardware. Like I talked about before, we've got many different hardware configurations available for running Moldflow on, and here are some of the configurations. They range from general high compute type hardware configurations with Haswell processors to high memory configurations like Gold, which have a lot of memory per core. And then we also have some very high memory configurations with up to 2 terabytes of RAM per node, such as Topaz, but probably not useful unless you solve a very, very large Moldflow model. In this case, I do want to use enough memory, and from the results that I showed before, we know that you want at least 60 gigabytes of memory. So I'm gonna select 8 cores of Gold here, using our Gold specialty hardware configuration, and once you've selected it, on the right side here, you can see a short overview of the hardware that you've selected. So you can make sure that you've selected the right amount of memory and disk space or storage space for your job. In this case, I selected 120 gigabytes of memory and 220 gigabytes of storage. So once we've selected the right hardware, we are ready to submit our job. We can go to our review page, which gives us a short review of the job that we've just set up. But before I submit my job, I'll just real quickly go over what we've done to set up the job. So first, we gave the job a name, uploaded our input file, selected Moldflow as our software, selected our version and specified the command to run Moldflow, and then also specified the license that we wanted to use. And then the last thing we did, the third step we did, was to select the hardware configurations for this job. So I'm now going to submit this job. And this will submit the job to Rescale, and it will bring you to the job status page. The first thing we'll do is to validate your inputs. This includes making sure that you've got enough, if you have a budget set on your client, that you have enough budget available. We also check whether your license server is accessible. So if there's something wrong, for example, with your VPN terminal or something like that, we can catch that, and we will hold your job until those issues are resolved. So once your job has been validated, we will go ahead and provision your hardware. This can take anywhere between 1 and 10 minutes, depending on the hardware configuration that you've selected. In this case, it will take about 5 minutes for the cold core tab. So while we're waiting for this cluster to boot up, I'd like to talk a little bit about the options here on the status page. One option here at the top, you can see is the sharing feature that we have. This allows you to share your job with colleagues or teammates within your company. For example, I can share my job with Mika here by typing in our email address, and I can also leave a message. And then I can share this with her. And once I share this job with her, she will get an email with a link to this job, and she will get read-only access to this job, so she can monitor the status. She can also, once the job is done, she can download any output files, and also she can make a clone of the setup of this job, which I'd like to talk about next, is the cloning feature. And this is a nice feature if you just want to make small changes to your job. So I click the clone button in the top right, and what it did is create an exact copy of the setup of my previous job. And so if I just want to say, for example, upload a different study file, I could do that. Right here. Or, for example, if I decided that my job was running too slowly, I can add more hardware, for example, add more cores, and or add more memory or something like that, and then just resubmit my job. So in this case, it only took me 2 clicks to just make a small change to my job and resubmit a second job. So that's the power of the cloning feature on Rescale. If ever you run into issues setting up your job, what you can also do is share the job with Rescale support. So as easy as clicking the share button and then selecting Rescale support in the share window, and then you can type a message with the problems that you're having setting up your job. And this will allow Rescale support to view your job, take a look at the statuses of your job, take a look at the log files of your job if they're available. But you have to explicitly share this Rescale support for us to be able to help you, so we can actually take a look at what your job is doing. So you can go back to the job that you started before, and you can see the cluster has started. And in this case, it took 4 minutes to start a cluster, and now it's at the running job status. Once the cluster has started and the job has started running, this new window here appears, which is called live tailing, which will show you our live tailing interface, which allows you to look at any file or tail any file that is on the cluster. The most interesting file on the cluster, in our case, is the log file. And you can click process output to log to look at this log file. You can change the number of lines in the log file that you want to, or the files that you want to view. So in this case, I can do up to 5,000 lines. And alternatively, you can download the file by clicking the download button here. And you can do the same as any file on the cluster. So you can access any file that is currently on the cluster and download it to your local hard drive. So for example, the out file, you can download any of these files to your desktop. So lastly, I want to take a look at this job that has been running for a while now. This job has been running for an hour and 2 minutes. What you can do is, at the bottom here, you can also look at the cluster's status. So you can make sure that there's enough memory still available. Make sure that you don't run low on memory. Make sure that you have enough free disk space. And so in this case, you can make sure that, or you can keep on monitoring the hardware of your job to make sure that there's enough resources available. Once your job is finished, so let me go to a finished job here real quick. Once your job is finished, your files will be available right from the Rescale interface. And when you click on a finished job, you are brought to the output files page, which allows you to view or download any of the output files. In this case, you can see there's 19 files that have been created. And I can paginate through all the files, and I can download individual files. For example, the log. If I want to just download the log file here, I can download just the log file, or I can download 2 files. For example, the log and the output file by selecting 2 files and downloading the 2 files. So what we do is first we create a zip file of the 2 files, and then we download that file. Or what most of our customers do, we just download the entire job in one big zip file. And you can do that by using the blue download button in the top right. And so that is the general flow of running a Moldflow on Rescale. And so that concludes my demo. So I think the next part is the questions. So are there any questions?
Yes, so there are a couple of questions that came in through the chat window. One I answered from Tim asking like how big the model size was, but it was a very, very large model. That's vacuum model. The other question that came in is like, does it support DOE? Do you want to answer that, or want me to answer that, Mulyanto?
I'm sure I can answer that. We do support DOE right now, so you can just upload the DOE study file. Right now, currently, the DOE will run each run in sequentially. We will be working in the near future to allow these DOE runs to be able to execute in parallel, which should speed up the executions of your DOE greatly if you have multiple nodes or many cores available to you on Rescale.
Yep. Another question that was asked, like, how do we purchase cloud credits? From what I hear, it takes 20 credits to solve per solve. Is that correct? So I'll take this one because it's so the Moldflow, the cloud solvers that we actually provide with Moldflow directly do cost 20 cloud credits per solve, and you can buy those from the direct sales team. This is an alternative way to actually use the power of the cloud to run like many analysis or extremely large analysis. So this is an alternative approach that you can take. You would buy the sort of your budget or your allotment actually directly from Rescale direct. So I don't know if you have any comments. Maybe Mika can answer this.
Yeah, so the hardware is purchased from Rescale directly, and when you set up your job, you can actually see in the bottom right here the cost for your job per hour. So we bill on an hourly basis. You can we accept any kind of payment, credit card, purchase orders.
Yeah. So this is different from the way it works in Moldflow. For Moldflow, you have a flat rate for 20 cloud credits per job, whereas in this particular version, like with Rescale, you buy like cloud, you pay per hour.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Can you load a license from a local server behind a firewall? I think that's for you.
Yes, you can, and we actually provide services for you to connect to your local licenses. There's several different methods that you can use to access it. Our most popular method is setting up a VPN between your local network and Rescale. This is also the most secure method. But we also support SSH tunneling as well as proxy forwarding, where we forward all licensing traffic through a whitelisted proxy. So yes, there's several methods for us to access internal licenses.
Cool. Can you load license? Sorry, how many credits per DOE? So this really depends on how big your DOE is. Like this is an hourly, so you pay more for analysis that take longer to run. So this is not a flat rate DOE that we have in Moldflow. This is like you charge, you get charged by how long the analysis actually takes, right? So can you post-process from the cloud without having to download locally?
Yes, so we do provide a desktop option where you can launch a virtual machine on Rescale and allow you to launch the GUI interfaces to many of our softwares. You can either connect through RDP, remote desktop, or through, if you use a GPU acceleration, you can use VNC in conjunction with nice TCP to access these desktops.
Cool. Will this presentation be available for download? This is actually being recorded right now, and I think we will publish this like after the presentation is done. How does Rescale ensure that my jobs are ITAR compliant? Moyanto.
So we have a special ITAR site. It's at itar.rescale.com, and this is backed by ITAR compliant data centers. So your jobs will only execute in ISO-compliant data centers, and your data will only be stored in ISO-compliant data storage as well. And so your data will never leave the bounds of the ISO-compliant data center.
Very good. How do we get a local demo / presentation?
We would be happy to schedule a demo with you. The best way to set this up is to contact sales@rescale.com. We'd love to do a private demo and walkthrough of Rescale and Moldflow for you.
Another one I got was, do you provide licenses for Moldflow so without actually me having to buy my own license?
Currently, Moldflow is only available with bring your own license. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
No, so that's correct. So at the moment, it's bring your own license only. If needed, we can explore other options, but that's where we are at this moment. Are there any other questions? If there are no more questions, then, oh, there's one just came in. How do you deal with software like ANSYS that uses Workbench to manage their input files?
That's a good question. So I assume that the question is if you want to use your native GUI to submit jobs to Rescale. So Rescale primarily is a batch submission system. So we do allow batch submission of workflow inputs like Workbench. Now being able to submit directly from a software GUI is something that we handle on a case-by-case basis. We currently do not support that for Workbench, but we do explore these kinds of native integrations with the native GUIs of these different software. So that's also something we are investigating with Moldflow. Now being able to submit directly from Moldflow Synergy would be obviously a very nice user experience, and that's something that we are looking to implement down the road and definitely investigating right now.
Anything at Autodesk University 2016 on this topic? We actually talked about this. There may be an option to do something in between the classes. Like at the moment, when we first started to get serious about this partnership, the classes were already locked in for Autodesk University, so there were no slots available anymore. But we did talk about the option for like having them present something in between some of the classes. But we'll have to revisit it a little bit. So we need our own Moldflow licenses. Is that correct? Yes. So basically the way this works is that the software is installed on the Rescale cloud, but to get a license you actually have to tunnel through your own license server through your own firewall to connect to your license server to access your own licenses for this. That's correct. Yeah. Any integration with PLM solutions?
Currently, no, we do not have any integration with PLM solutions. That's also something that's on a roadmap, which we're investigating right now. But currently, no.
and he got a thanks for that. All right, good. Is there no more questions? Last chance for people to need something in the questions window. No more questions then. Thank you very much for everybody for attending. Thank you, Rescale, for doing this session with us. It's been very much appreciated. I hope to see you guys sometime at different events that we have around the globe. So thank you very much, everybody. Bye.